Okay, welcome to the first album review. This is going to be the first review of 3 reviews of Eden, Irish singer, songwriter, producer Eden's albums. He has a new album coming out Friday. I'm really excited about it, and this is just the best way to burn my time. So we're going to start off today with Eden's debut album, Vertigo. Vertigo, it was released in 2018. It is a 13-track slow burn that encompasses 52 minutes. And when I say it was a slow burn, I genuinely mean that it was a very slow burn of an album. Eden's Vertigo is definitely not an album that is made for a mainstream audience by any means. I'm pretty sure he's even said that Vertigo, the album, was for himself. So it's not necessarily easy for people to get into it. It's a bit scattershot. You can tell it's kind of more of a collection of thoughts and ideas that maybe were not fully sewn through, but nonetheless, it is very much a grandiose, moody, experimental, electronic-infused album. And if that sounds like a lot, it really is, especially in the slow burn sense. So initially, when I heard this album was going to come out, I was not sure what to expect because the previous project that Eden had was, I'm pretty sure it was I Think You Think Too Much of Me, which was at the time something, he was trying to get away from. And it's definitely something you can see that he's trying to get away from in Vertigo. Much of his music is very experimental. If you're into Porter Robinson, maybe you'll be into more of his music. Maybe not. A lot of his electronic roots do come from his time as the Eden Project, which maybe some people do know, maybe some people don't know. That's where things like Bipolar Paradise came from, if anybody's heard of that EP. That's more SoundCloud era type music, but SoundCloud era was a very big era at one point. Despite the seemingly chaotic nature of the album given my description, it's certainly an album that grew on me with time. Like I said, it is a slow burn, so you do have to take a couple of tries, but you are greeted with this grandiose track as soon as you hit the play button. I was immediately encapsulated by Wrong. Somewhere throughout the album, you get a little lost. It's a little bit of a slow burn, but you can't help but to pay attention to the great detail in the instrumental and the great detail that he put into producing every song, like start/end. That's probably one of my favorites. Conceptually, it's a really, really good album if you really decide to sit there and, listen to things where there are certain lyrics that may be considered more deep cut lyrics than others may be. It's simply hard to ignore the production on the vocals and the entire album, and I would have to say that's probably the album's greatest appeal to me. And this is a very hit or miss album for people, like I've said before. I think much of Eden's work is very experimental. Much of Eden's work is either going to be you like it or you think it's the most boring crap you've ever heard in your life. But I would really think that anybody who loves to dive into introspection and is very into production, both vocally, instrumentally, sonically, you'd probably find a lot of enjoyment in this album. Like I said before, I do enjoy the concepts of this album as well. I mean, Start/End is definitely one of my favorites. Falling in Reverse has to be my favorite. That's probably been my favorite for a very long time now. And, you know, as far as the rating for this album goes, I'd probably have to say 8.5 out of 10, because this is the one album that I do find myself coming back to more often as a whole, rather than, you know, coming back and listening to one song and then just abandoning the album, which we might have to get into in the next review for Ian's sophomore album, No Future. But definitely give this a listen if you would like to. Let me know your thoughts, if you agreed with my favorite songs, if you disagreed, if you thought the album was boring, if this review was boring, if I should stop doing album reviews. I don't know. Leave a comment about something. I'm sitting here editing, and I somehow forgot to mention that I feel like most of Eden's career at this point is trying to get away from end credits as a whole, so there's that. This thing is just gonna haunt you, dude. I don't know what to tell you at this point. I think he did say he feels like he got away from it at some point, though, so maybe he got what he wanted. Alright, welcome to the very first album review that I'm doing. Please remember that this is, in fact, a hobby. I'm not trying to make it as a content creator. I'm in school. Yeah.